Hello everyone, this is Persephone and it's 3:19 a.m. at the time that I'm making this video. And if you ask why are you up at this time, it's because I'm following the David Goggins and Ryan Johnson principles of going to bed early and getting up early to the best of my abilities. So I feel great right now. And I have some thoughts that I want to share with you, hoping that if a person who has been abused or is struggling with abuse and having people being racist against them or ageist or lookist, maybe they are going to feel less alone or even get some help from this video. Probably you don't know that because it happened years ago, but there was a time when I used to be married to a very, very bad Korean man. I'm not saying that everyone who is Korean is bad, obviously, but unfortunately, and it's a good thing that people talk about this, Korean culture has many elements that help narcissists perpetuate intergenerational abuse. But at that time, because I'm white and because I was honestly very ignorant, I had no idea what was going on. And I was very unfortunate to befriend a narcissist, a failed predator, who was a person that was half white, half Asian, and supposedly understood better. But he didn't understand anything. He's essentially a very mentally traumatized, very sad man, a closeted homosexual. I don't say this to out him. His identity is going to be protected, but I'm just saying that being incapable of being honest about yourself and your sexuality adds a whole new layer of trauma, whether we like it or not. Quick disclaimer, I have no ill will or hatred towards anyone, and in this channel we do not support violence or crimes of any kind. The only consequences that should be inflicted on someone are the legal ones, that they should be based on things that they did, that they can be proven. Okay, I'm not encouraging anyone to go vigilante and commit crimes and slash tires and do stalking and so on. But the reason why I'm here today is because this person made a comment that really blew my mind. And it showed me how he is completely disconnected from reality of other people, normal people, and you can say neurodivergent people like me, that they are not exactly normal. So to put it plainly, this person took advantage of the fact that I consider him a friend, and he was trying to use me to extract money out of me because I come from a family with a lot more money than he has, whether he believes it or not. I think he believed it at the time. And essentially, he has never worked in his entire life, and he married some woman who is clearly special needs. Basically, if you're familiar with Chinese culture, I believe that he was blatantly gay, which is a shame to them. I'm not going to comment on that. I don't agree with that personally. I support LGBTQ people, but that's how it was at the time. And they found this woman that was completely unmarried. Like, it was impossible for her to get married normally according to Chinese standards. Again, there is a lot of ableism that can happen. So he has been living off of that person and proud of it. And when you live like that, you're always out there trying to extract things from people. You have a parasitic and predatory mindset, a narcissistic mindset, if you will. Plenty of narcissists do that. So when things didn't work out, and by work out, I mean that his plan was to make me seem like some kind of crazy fangirl of his and then discard me. And I have receipts for everything that I say, including his death threats where he says that he's going to pay people to find me and stab me in broad daylight. Then his channels had been deleted because there were ramblings, very low quality videos of hate, racism, and projecting his own troubled family to everybody else. I mean, of course, people who are mixed race have a lot of challenges compared to people who are not. That's undeniable, but that doesn't mean that exactly what happened to you happens to everybody else. And even if it does, it's their job to deal with it, and it's your job to present scientific facts and solutions and not to just ramble. YouTube terminated his channels and he was scrubbed off the internet, and I thought that that's that. And some years passed, and now that I see that there is someone making a fake account, that I would bet that it's 98% the abuser, because he doesn't really have any real fans. His accounts were a lot of sock puppets, and started a channel re-uploading the old videos. And I have to say that I allowed myself a petty moment, and I left a comment on this channel saying, this is going to fail. And I believe that not only from my personal perspective, that no one is that garbage, but also from a YouTuber perspective, that these things weren't successful years ago, that were banned years ago, what makes you think that anyone cares now? The world has moved on. And that person said that she is still pissed off for something that he said to her years ago. And this is where we get to the point of today's video, which is, in my opinion, the pinnacle of narcissism. So what did he say years ago that I'm still pissed off about it? Actually, pissed off doesn't even begin to cut it. I have a list of people, very few people, you can say less than 10, that I'm going to be happy if they perish and have a horrible death. As extreme as that may sound, they have harmed me that badly. There are so many people who try to harm me in my life, and I'm able to forget them because they are forgettable and insignificant. But this list of people, it's actually 9 people to be precise, and he's among the 9, not on the top 3. The reason why I have such negative feelings toward them is that they hurt me for sport. There is a category of narcissists who go around harming people for the fun of it, just because they can, just because their circumstances are ripe to insert themselves into someone's life and try to destroy it. My mother is there, my ex-mother-in-law is there, there are some people who are there. And that person is also there, that insignificant abuser that will not even be named. So during the narcissistic discard, this abuser wrote me a letter that he had the genius idea to publicize on Reddit. And he called me a sewer rat. He said that I will never be anything, that I have no talent, that even as a cam girl, I'm a failure because my body is rotting from a disease, making fun of my health problems, and my face is deformed and resembles some kind of animal. To be honest, I really regret not keeping the letter so I could read some parts to you. But that was pretty much some of the summary of it. And he said that I'm online begging for nickels and dimes. And now, the clown behind that channel says, it's been so long. Have you ever apologized for me to get over it? Have you ever repented in any way to write another letter and say, hey, I'm sorry that I was a tapeworm towards you? Of course not. They're not going to do that because narcissists are never wrong. They're perfect. This man, his mind, he's perfect and superior, despite the fact that he's middle-aged, he's out of shape, and he's parasitizing on a disabled person. And he has been parasitizing off of his relatives his entire life. He even deludes himself that he's from New York when he wouldn't even have money for the bus ticket in New York if it was up to him to earn it. Yeah, taking money off of an inheritance and flexing, anyone can do that. Can you actually earn the money to live in New York? The cost of living there, have you checked? Of course you can't, because that includes working. Oh my God, he's too good for working. And unfortunately, he's too talentless to be a content creator. So this isn't a video about just what happened, although it feels nice to recap what happened. It's about the fact that I want to share with you that don't assume that everyone is going to react the way you would react or the way that it's convenient for you. Yes, of course, it would have been very convenient for you, for my mother, for my ex-mother-in-law, if I just forgot and move on. But I don't, because I'm not this type of person. I'm a person that I pay back kindness with more kindness and evilness with more evilness. I live by an eye for an eye philosophy. And you're going to say, so what are you going to do to this person? Nothing currently. There is nothing legal that I can do to this person currently. But if the circumstances change and there is something, you'd bet I'm doing it. Right away, the same second. Same with all of the others who are such failed evolutionary rejects, because that's what they are. Humans are social animals. We're supposed to work with each other in teams to survive. That's how humanity survived for hundreds of thousands of years. And these are stabbing the hand who fed them. This man doesn't have any friends. He never did. He's always playing the victim about the fact that no one wants anything to do with him because he's a backstabber. He's a snake. And I was his only friend. And he's not even honest with himself about that. So now he made his little channel again with his 40 views, the person who told me that I will never be anything and that I don't have any views. And he comes back to say, why do you still care about that? And I have some bad news. I'm going to care forever. Unless you die. If you die, I'm going to stop caring, I promise. I'm not encouraging you to die, of course not. I'm just saying, though, maybe your time will come. You don't work out, you live a very unhealthy life, you're a very toxic person. These things pile up on your health, whether you like it or not. So yeah, if you die, I'm going to stop caring. But until then, don't expect me to stop caring. And don't expect me to sit here and think, oh, maybe Like they say in The Art of War, because I read books, something that many people don't do, especially in his family. Maybe if you wait long enough by the river, the bodies of your enemies will come floating to you. David Goggins said, don't look for revenge, look for the reckoning. There is going to be a reckoning. There is it's already beginning. Accusing me that I have no talent when you have 50 views, isn't that an eyesore? And also you can say whatever you want about me. It's fine. Facts talk, money talk. I pay my own way in life. I pay my own medication. I pay my own food. I pay my own bills. I pay my own crypto that my father said recently he mocked it because that's all he can do. You can say whatever you want, but I'm not a parasite on anyone. So let me tell you how the real world works. I don't accept criticism from parasites and from narcissists and from other inferior, lesser life forms. If you want to criticize me, you have to be better than me with receipts, better body, better face, better brand, making more money, more education, and so on. If you're some nameless, faceless clown, Ronald McDonald of Nightfled, where your face is a mask of Korean beauty apps, used one on top of the other to the point that we don't know how you really look anymore, you don't get to say anything. I mean, you can say it, but you only make yourself look ridiculous. No one can take you seriously. Dr. Sam Vaknin said the idea that people are equal is an utter joke, and I agree with that. But inequality has nothing to do, in my opinion, with your race or your gender or your face, or whatever. It has to do with how much effort you put in life. So if you put no effort, you don't get to say anything. So yeah, that clown is back on YouTube, which showed me that he doesn't even understand how social media work. Because if you really wanted to make something, you should make a video that is new, with better content and with your face on it. But of course, he can't show his face. How are you going to show your face when you have let yourself go and your looks that you have been so proud of have descended? It's so convenient. All the evil people that I know, all the bad people, because we say personality disorder this and personality disorder that, and there is this obsession with psychiatry and medicalizing all of that I am also a victim of. I also do that. But at the end of the day, aren't just the bad people, evil people, immoral people? It's so convenient to say, oh, let bygones be bygones, forget and move on. And what if I don't? What if I tell you that I'm waiting here for the opportunity to come so I can strike for these people? It's not revenge, it's consequences. Every action has a counteraction in life. That's how the world works. Narcissists were never taught how the world works. They live this life of essentially delusion and psychosis. And I'm just making this video now to announce that for me, I'm not going to say it's been war from now on. It has been war from the moment someone calls me a swearat in public. That war started many years ago. You're just not aware of it because you're too fat and lazy to remind it, because it stresses you. It really stresses you to know that it's someone else who is enraged at what happened to them for no reason at all. Yeah, you can say the reason was that I was a sucker. That's fine. I learned from it. It's okay. One thing that I learned is that I'm never marrying a Korean man again, for example. Even if I wanted to date one, it would be just dating. Because a Korean mother-in-law, telling a Korean mother-in-law that you are your own person, from my experience, and you're going to have human rights and she can just insult you or steal your money. I have receipts for that. Subhuman. I watched a podcast from Ludi Bancroft, the author of Why Does He Do That?, who is an amazing counselor working with abusers. He worked in an abusive rehabilitation program for 30 years, and he said, telling an abuser that you're not going to treat the people in your family badly, you're not going to beat them, you're not going to take their money, you're not going to call them names anymore. He said it's like telling a slave owner who comes from a very long generation of slave owners that you can't have slaves anymore, and that what you did is a terrible thing. The slave owner is shocked and he feels wrong. He says, what? That's how we always lived in my family. And then he says, and if I let the slaves go, who's going to work at the plantation? You expect me to work at the plantation? That is my ex-Korean mother-in-law in a nutshell. That, oh, that's how it is. The mother-in-law is an evil person. She's horrible to the daughter-in-law, so why do you expect things to change for you? This is how it's always been. Well, not with me. You met such a wrong person that you're going to treat like that. So all I'm going to say to this person behind the new channel that may or may not be the abuser, because, you know, when you're a coward to an extreme degree, you can't even own up to your own comeback. You have to make a new account with a fake name and pretend it's not you to keep your little self safe. That's fine. So I'm going to say to the owner of this channel, that may or may not be the abuser, that I consider you an evil person who will never be anything, and consider me your enemy for as long as we live. Thank you for watching.